The April 10th, 2018 Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Roll call will show that all commissioners are present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to our Employee Recognition Awards program. We are recognizing employees who have been nominated by their peers in the areas of collaborative team player, professional performance, customer service, approachable and responsive customer service, fair and equitable community volunteer service, and rookie for 2017. The winner of each category will receive a plaque and a gift card. Sharon Westhoff and I will now begin the program. Sharon.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. If your name is called this morning, we ask that you come forward to receive your congratulatory letter and then return to your seat. All nominees and recipients are asked to stay for pictures this morning in the rotunda after our program. And please hold your applause until all nominations by category have been announced. We will be also taking an individual picture with the award recipient and Commissioner Mergen this morning, and we will now begin our program. Our first award category is the Collaborative Team Player Award. This award goes to an employee who has exhibited a collaborative effort to serve the public through teamwork or community partnerships to accomplish the goals of the county. The nominees are Amanda Berry, Kathy Dukowitz, Tess Ellens, Scott Hemish, Kayla Jansen, Barb Johnson, Megan Campa, and Elizabeth Rademacher. And the Collaborative Team Player Award goes to
Scott Hemish.
Scott's background and knowledge have helped the department to become more efficient in serving the public. With just a little over a year of working in the assessor's office, he has been instrumental in putting technology to work to streamline assessing functions. He has a willingness to assist others in order for the team to be confident and successful in all they do. Congratulations, Scott. Our next category is the Professional Performance Award. This award goes to an employee who has demonstrated a desire for continuous improvement in service delivery. This employee has shown superior effort and contributions while remaining ethical, reliable, and accountable for their actions. This employee has shown exemplary achievement and has delivered exceptional public service. The nominees are Dory Dahlberg, Haley Harris, Jeannie Conzer, Joan Schmitz, Joanne Weirs, and Wendy Wehoff. The Professional Performance Award goes to
Jeannie Conzer.
Jeannie is a professional in all she does. She strives for accountability and continuous improvement in her work tasks and goes above and beyond to ensure information is shared with trainees, which benefits the whole work team. Congratulations, Jeannie, on receiving the Professional Performance Award. Next is our Customer Service Award. This award goes to an employee who served our clients and customers with a keen awareness to their needs and provided quality customer service. This employee is eager to serve, friendly, helpful, and treats others with respect and dignity. This employee has gone the extra mile in responding to requests from the customers they serve. The nominees are Matt Berry, Jennifer Bukowski, Kathy Dukowitz, Mary Jo Giambruno, Farhaya Ayman, Jean Kiphuth, Nancy Middow, Aaron Rosenberger, Lacey Smith, Patsy Zimmerman, and then we have a group nomination. So all those in attendance, if they'd come forward. Deborah Andrews, Tanya Bennett, Amanda Berry, Tara Beniak Price. Where's the group this morning? Yeah. Oh, okay. Accepting on their behalf is Laura. We have a couple more individuals: Amber Bird, Nathan Fisher, Karen Gorger, Sherry Gottlieb, Carrie Hoffman, Sharon Klein, Carla Naus-Ellinger, Kathy Coleman, Jesselyn Lehner, Margie Long, excuse me, Mary McIntyre, Tamara Schmidt, Mary Schwant, Colleen Schwagel, Holly Simonitz, and Terry Trisco, and Joy Weirs, all from the Auditor Treasurer's Office. Thank you, Laura. The Approachable and Responsive Customer Service Award goes to
Mary Jo Giambro.
You can hear the smile in her voice. Mary Jo is eager to serve, friendly, and is respectful to those she helps. Being flexible and assisting clients and coworkers when help is needed awards Mary Jo with this year's Approachable and Responsive Customer Service Award. Congratulations. Our next category is our Customer Service Award in the category of Fair and Equitable. This award goes to an employee that recognized the need to accommodate differences in ability, opportunity, and background. This employee recognized a need for change and recommended a solution to make a service or program more fair and equitable. The nominees are Tara Dindorf, Elizabeth Rademacher, and Caitlin Swanson. The Fair and Equitable Customer Service Award goes to
Elizabeth Rademacher.
Making it her goal to offer easy-to-access services for customers and in a fair and equitable manner makes Liz our recipient in this customer service category. Sharing her expertise on multiple committees, Liz works closely with staff in making her unit more efficient so they can continue to provide assistance to those in need. Congratulations, Liz. Next is our Community Volunteer Service Award, and this award goes to an employee who has contributed to the community in his or her non-work time in a non-paid capacity. This employee has shown a high degree of involvement in activities within the community and an outstanding desire to give his or her own time to help others and to improve the safety, health, and vibrancy of our community. These activities may be directed towards the disabled, the disadvantaged, elderly, youth, religious organizations, special or service organizations, etc. And the nominees are Zach Bragelman, Tara Dindorf, Sandra Cruz, and Tracy Warzala. And the winner is
Tracy Warzala.
If you had $1 million, would you give it all away? When it comes to helping others in the community, Tracy is not a self-serving servant. She gives her time to support causes that are helpful to many people. Tracy's actions inspire others to be better volunteers in the communities we live and serve. Congratulations, Tracy. All right, our last award of the morning is our Rookie Award. This award goes to an employee with at least 6 months and not more than 2 years of county service from the date of hire, who is a fast learner, excels in the duties of the position, is collaborative, pleasant, and positive, able to make constructive suggestions for change, and demonstrates commitment to the county's mission, values, and goals. The nominees are Macy Barrett, Nicole Bielke, Chris Breath, Huda Dodd, Samantha Erpelding, Summer Hall, Marcus Marwick, Natasha New, Rebecca Nasca, Ariel Schmitz, Sarah Stein, Casey Volkers, and Sean West. The Rookie Award goes to
Sean West.
In the short time that Sean has been here, he has excelled in his responsibilities and demonstrates an enthusiastic attitude toward the design and construction aspects of the department, of the highway department. Being self-motivated with initiative to dive into Minnesota DOT technical certification classes and serve on technical panels will benefit the department efficiency for years to come. Congratulations, Sean, on receiving the Rookie Award. Just want to give you a reminder, all nominees, if you could gather now in the rotunda for group pictures. This does conclude our program. Thank you all for coming, and congratulations again.
I think so. Well, we had a few that.
Yes, okay, thanks.
Is there anyone here to appear on the public access forum?
Okay, thank you.
Anyone wishing to address the board on issues not found on today's agenda may do so at this time. Speakers are asked to approach the microphone. Individual comments are limited to 3 to 4 minutes. Total allotted time for this forum is 10 minutes. A citizen may speak at the public access forum once per month. County board members will not engage in dialogue with the speakers, but rather refer the matter to the appropriate county department. Please give your name and address.
My name is Fred Rupp, 3724 Pine Point Road in Sartell, Minnesota. I live on the Mississippi River. And I'm here, first I want to thank you for the opportunity to do this. I'm here to ask for your help in protecting docks, lifts, and especially shoreline during times of extreme river levels. Both high water and low water levels are what I'm talking about. There will be low water level this summer during the Mississippi, the Sartell Pool drawdown, a 6-week drawdown that will drop the river 3 feet. During that time, Little Rock Lake and the Harris Channel will have wake restrictions for the entire time, and that's to allow the vegetation to repopulate the lowland and to mitigate erosion along the shoreline. At this point, the Mississippi River has no such plan to mitigate damage from wakes. Different from the Little Rock, this Mississippi section has both Stearns County and Benton County involvement. And since there is no particular plan for restricting wakes, my concern is that during the drawdown, the pool will be narrower. Recreational boaters, especially large watercraft that are designed to create large wakes, will be using that area for recreation, but at the same time causing damage to docks, probably boats that will be in a precarious situation because of the drawdown, lifts, and particularly shoreline. My particular shoreline, I have the very end of Pine Point, is continually damaged by those wakeboard boats and large watercraft, and I understand that's just part of living on the river. But during extreme water levels, that becomes a problem. During high flood levels, I've called to ask for help as these waters pour over my land, pour over the dock, and cause severe erosion. I was told that because both counties have jurisdiction in the area, that it would have to be something to be done way ahead of time, and that's why I'm here today. As the river level goes down, there is a chance, a good chance, that there will be repopulation of vegetation along the shoreline to prevent erosion. My particular part of land is so long and narrow, it's actually not able to be built on, but it's just a very narrow strip of land. That area is going to be extremely in danger of erosion from those boats. I'm a strong supporter of the drawdown, both for what it can do for Little Rock Lake, but also what it can do for the Mississippi River. But I'm asking for your help, and I'm not sure exactly whose help I'm asking for, to help limit the damage caused by wakes during that period of time. That's a 6-week period of time during the summer starting August 1st.
Okay. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
I think I refer you to about 3 departments here. I think the sheriff's probably should talk to you, along with environmental services, and the parks department, I think, also has some things going on up in that area. So if those 3 people would make a point to talk to Fred about this.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here for the public access forum?
Yes.
Right.
I'm Mary Kibbe. I live at 1721 Woodland Road in St. Cloud, but I'm here as Vice President of the Little Rock Lake Association in the drawdown, basically to give you the information of what we're doing and what we want to do and who we're working with. As anybody who's been around St. Cloud for years is very aware of our lack of shoreline stability, the fact that the lake has gone from being a wetland to being an agricultural. We're looking at development from residential. Our phosphorus levels are now 5 times higher than they should be, and our chlorophyll level is 11 times greater. And we are in the top 4% of the most polluted lakes in Minnesota. We are fortunate, as somebody who just came back from the Minnesota Rivers and Lakes Summit, to be partnering in this area with our farmers who have implemented over 70 best management practices since 2012, and that's at an expense to themselves too, so we're very happy. We have reduced our phosphorus level 2,340 pounds, And what you have to remember here, which is significant, is 1 pound of phosphorus equals 300 pounds of algae growth. We're going to do, as you heard a minute ago, a 3-foot drawdown this summer from August 1st to September 14th. It will, in essence, mimic a natural drought. We'll be able to do plantings. We'll work on shoreline areas in the river. We'll allow for plants to regrow, looking at oxidation of sediment, processing of nutrients, and monitoring the conditions. We have received funding for this from the Bureau of Soil and Water Resources, or Bowser, of $198,000. We are actively raising the rest. We have submitted 2 grants, and we have made it through the initial process on both, and have been told it looks likely we will get them. We were also given a donation by the Rice Sportsman's Club. We want to partner, and we all are aware of the fact that this lake, which drains into the Mississippi, is also in 2 counties. We're looking at Benton and Stearns. We have talked to the Benton County Sheriff regarding our concerns about wakes during this period and after this period, because any heavy wakes not only can raise docks out of the water, they're going to possibly destroy the plants we're trying to regrow. We don't want that. We want to all work together. We've already talked to the Stearns County Park Board, so they're very aware of what we're doing. And we just wanted to come today, give you a copy of our presentation, answer any questions you may have, and continue to partnership with everybody.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Commissioner Merrick?
I don't have any questions, but the 3 departments that you referred to, I guess I would add Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District into that discussion as contact. We have a number of the board members in the audience today, so
thank you,
that
Mr.
would be
Mayor.
number 4.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address in the public access forum? Anyone else for the public access forum? Seeing no one, we will go to item C, which is the consent agenda. Board members, anything here? Commissioner Merrick?
Yeah, I don't have any questions, so I'm going to move approval, but I'd like to have a discussion or an overview on items C2 and C6.
Okay.
So my motion is to approve, but I'd like to have an overview of that, and I've talked to individuals in those departments, so they're aware of this.
Okay. You want to go first?
Well, go ahead.
Okay. There's been a motion to approve, but I would like to have item number 3 pulled because I'm going to have to abstain on a portion of that.
Commissioner Merrick, will you accept that change?
Oh, sure.
Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Is there a second?
I'll
then?
second those items.
There's an item in the blue packet. Does that include that?
And there's also an item in the
Right.
packet
Mhm.
that include that?
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the,
Yeah, then item C2, and I see we have the county assessor here, so I'd like to have him give us an overview of what this item is, and there's a sizable tax amount there, and that's caused me to just, I think maybe educate the board and educate the public on what's happening here.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Chair and Commissioner Merrick, the abatement that you were asked to approve this morning is for Rock On Properties. It's a local option disaster abatement, and it's not uncommon to process property tax relief to property owners that petition the county assessor, county auditor, and the board for a reduction because they've experienced a loss. In this particular case, Rock On Properties had a fire on January 26, 2017. They lost an entire building. It was a repair shop that was 60 by 198. I think it was about 11,880 square feet. The law, which is Minnesota Statute 273.1223, provides property tax relief to properties that are damaged through tornadoes, floods, fires. There's 2 parts of that law. One deals with one that's in an emergency or disaster area, and the other deals with properties that are outside of the emergency or disaster area. In this particular case, because it involved one property, it's outside of that particular area. And so when a property is destroyed by 50% or more and it's accidental or unintentional, the property owner can seek relief through the Minnesota property tax system for a portion of the taxes based upon the unusable period of time in which the property is not put to use. And 1 day's use is considered a full month's use. And in this particular case, because the fire took place in January, 11 months of that building was not usable. We were not able to determine that until the end of the year when we were going through our quintile and inspection reviews. And then at that point, because they made timely application back in, they contacted the office, I believe it was in February of last year. We closed out the year in December and were able to process the abatement paperwork in January and February, and then it was presented to you for action. Because this abatement is rather large, and that's because the building had a value of over $350,000 and the tax rates are what they are, that this total sum of tax was $13,598. I was instructed by law to notify the school district as well as the city where this took place because it was over $10,000, and solicit any feedback or input that they have in this particular matter. Because the abatement was over $10,000, they were notified in a timely manner. I did not receive any reply, and so I assume everything is fine with them. The school district's portion of the tax is $2,243. Wade Park's portion is $4,766, and the county's portion is $6,589. Unfortunately, there are no provisions in the law that would allow us to seek reimbursement because the statute doesn't allow for that in this particular case because this property is outside of an emergency or disaster area. Had the property been in an area that was declared an emergency or disaster area, we could have sought relief from the Department of Revenue for reimbursement for those taxes, but unfortunately that's not the case here. So that's how it works, and annually we have probably 4 or 5. Many of them deal with residential homes, but it does apply to non-homestead properties, and this is one particular one that is certainly large. It's one of the larger ones we've seen in some time, but it's because it's commercial property and there was a lot of value associated with it, whereas in other cases it's usually a few $1,000s rather than over $10,000. So I hope that brief overview is helpful. Are there any questions or concerns that you may have?
I appreciate the overview. Thank you. I don't know if board members have any comments, but that answers my concerns.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Merrick, did you have another one?
Yes, item C6, I'd like an overview of that.
Thank you.
And I've talked to folks from the Auditor Treasurer's Office. I'd like to just have an overview from the start up until we are today, until where we are today.
So Chad from the Auditor's Office will give a brief overview.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chad Martini from the Division of Land Management in the Auditor's Office. So what we have before you today is a resolution of absolute property sale. And kind of in real terms is what we're asking for here is repricing of a tax forfeited property. Because the law doesn't allow county staff to negotiate prices of tax forfeited property, there is a process by which we bring it back to the board for approval. And this property doesn't remain over the counter for sale. It goes back to auction as a new tax forfeited property to give all people an opportunity to take advantage of the new pricing on this property. The reason we get to this point with this particular property is more through a sequencing of events of how we get properties. So we have a subdivision and there's X number of properties in there. One of them came to us at a different time than the others, so there was just a quirk in how it was priced. So really the goal here is for Stearns County and staff to bring all properties in the same development in the same city in alignment price-wise. So we're going from $12,500 to $6,000 on this particular property, send it back to auction, and now all the properties on the same street are in the same price range. So that's the process, that's the goal we're trying to achieve here today. Certainly open to any questions from commissioners on where we're at.
I don't have any. I just wanted an overview. Okay, thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Commissioners, seeing nothing, we'll have a vote on that portion of the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then.
I'll go ahead, I'll move item number 3 that Commissioner Mergen had pulled.
I'll second.
Okay, item number 3, could we get that split into 2 parts, because the one part I can vote on, the other part I need to abstain from. The St. Martin one, I can vote on that. These got lumped together as the
Okay.
same, but
Well, do you think you need to vote on the St. Martin one? I think it's going to pass.
Okay.
Okay.
I will I'll abstain on both.
Let's call the question.
All right, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I think we're good.
And make note that I am abstaining. Item D, we are up to Stearns County Soil and Water. We have Dennis Fuchs and Chuck Uphoff here.
No, you'll make
Along
St.
with
Martin
some of
feel
their-
good.
Feel good? Yeah. Along with some of their board members.
Thank you.
How are you?
Oh, no.
Wait a minute.
Hi, Chuck, how you doing?
No, I wasn't in it. Dean is here. You sure brought this up?
Oh, Lee, there you go. Look at that.
Oh, God.
Who did they, are those to Lee or do they go to the board? Wait a minute.
I said, I'll give you $5.
Oh.
Thank you.
And she thought it was 500. So.
Are you taking one to
High school, was it going to?
It might hurt, well, you don't have to worry about your reelection.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Or,
Dennis Fuchs, Administrator with the Stearns County Soil Water Conservation District, to provide the County Commissioners our annual update. Thanks for having us today. Also, Chuck Uphoff, Chair of the Stearns SWCD Board, is here along with several other supervisors and a couple of SWCD staff, and also our partners, NRCS, Natural Resources Conservation Service, have a couple staff here today. Just a reminder, what we follow as our plan is the Stearns County Comprehensive Local Water Management Plan. That has several resource concerns that we need to focus on, including impaired waters, source water protection, and urban development. This will be moving toward one watershed, one plans, and we're looking at adopting those in the future as our plan of attack in protecting our resources. Mission statement is to provide local leadership in the conservation of soil, water, and related natural resources through programs and partnerships with individuals, businesses, organizations, and government. And just as a reminder, we're non-regulatory. We do voluntary assistance, and we have no taxing authority. So today we're going to be discussing our 2017 annual update. There's the cover. One of the things we wanted to highlight, in 2017, we worked with the Sauk River Watershed District, Stearns County Environmental Services Department, and others in putting on a farmers fair. And we had a lot of topics associated with the buffer program, and I'll have some more buffer statistics and update later in the presentation. But this was a very good way to reach out to farmers and share information with them. And as Katie Breath said, the Farmers Fair provides an environment where producers can talk to other producers about what works, what didn't work on their farm. So they don't have to hear from Dennis Fuchs, they hear from another producer, which they really appreciate. We did have the governor here in town for his Minnesota 25 by 25. He's looking at a 25% reduction in pollutants by the year 2025. That was hosted at the St. Cloud Technical and Community College, and on this table included the governor, Pat Shea, Public Works Director with the City of St. Cloud, and Linda Jennison with Gerlinde Farms, Redhead Creamery. And it was a very well-attended event, and a lot of folks were there to hear how we can solve our problems. Also, we did make it out to Washington, D.C. for the National Association of Conservation Districts fly-in. On this photo is Doug Thomas on the left, Nate Hilla, Stearns SWCD Project Management Supervisor, Congressman Tim Walz and his legislative aide, and just a lot of work out there right now, especially with the Farm Bill, and trying to make sure we get that passed and including the conservation practices we'd like to see. Jumping into the West Central Technical Service Area, this is an area that has a separate board that provides funds for Stearns SWCD staff to provide technical assistance across this 12-county, 12 SWCD area. And if you look at the number of projects assisted, Stearns County, again, rises to the top like cream. And just a significant amount of work being done here in Stearns County. And you can see what's being done with our neighboring counties. We also submitted a cooperative weed management grant with the county weed inspector, Bob Dunning, and others. And there you can see Bob standing in a field of wild parsnip, and that is one of the plants out there that if you touch it, it can cause a photoreaction and cause a skin burn, quite dramatic. And you definitely have to wear some protective clothing when you're removing that.
Can you tell us where that field was, Dennis, or not?
I cannot, but Bob could. Looking at some of our financial information, we receive approximately $1 million from the county. Last year, we received about $1 million from the state, and about $4.4 million from the federal government, and about $500,000 or $400,000 from local and nonprofit. These funds are used to offset staff costs, and then also a majority of it going toward project implementation with our landowners in Stearns County. If you look at where these projects occurred in 2017, you can see they're across the county. It also highlights some of our project areas here and special initiatives, including our Mississippi River Basin Initiative in the Long Lake area and Cedar Island Lake area. We also selected a outstanding conservationist last year, which was the Plum Creek Neighborhood Network. And one of the leaders of this group, instrumental leaders of this group, was Jerry Finch, and he's circled in red. This group was very concerned about having a TMDL in Plum Creek, and it had exceeded bacteria. And they are working with the University of Minnesota scientists to identify where that bacteria is coming from, and working with the MPCA to even modify the standard for bacteria, because some of this bacteria will hang around in your stream for years, even if the source has been removed. So Jerry has been very instrumental in getting some really good policy set on these standards. We also participate with the Minnesota Department of Ag's Commercial Animal Waste Technician Workshop. If you're a custom waste applicator, you have to get trained in applying these nutrients in a proper manner, and we do assist with those training efforts. We also are involved with a variety of other education and outreach efforts. There's a photo of Megan Herbst at our Area 2 Envirothon, and Brad Wenz also there, talking about our resources. And a variety of other photos here. Candace Tieglin at Frozen Fest, Nate Hilla talking to the Minnesota County Feedlot officers, Brad Wenz at a cover crop field day, and Katie Breath at our Irrigation Association of Minnesota meeting. We also receive a grant from the Board of Water and Soil Resources to do farm bill programs, and you can get an idea of what types of practices and the amount of acres that were implemented from this slide. A brief update on the Stearns County buffer. We're at almost 98% compliance. We have approximately 300 landowners that are out of compliance when we did the review. Out of those, 152 agreed to establish a buffer. And the work remaining is we got 72 that are currently receiving assistance from our office. We're looking at alternative ag practices that could potentially reduce that buffer width from 50 down to 30 feet, or maybe even less depending on the situation. 69 of those have already agreed to a plan, and we have 5 landowners that we have been unable to contact. The Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program continues to grow, and there's a picture of Jim August, a farmer, here on this slide. Also, the NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service, has been an active partner, along with our 3rd Street Brewery, who has also been providing a 12-pack of beer to all of the farmers that get certified in the program, because we all know good water makes good beer. And Chuck is certified, and so is Commissioner Notch.
But I only got a 6-pack.
Yeah, it's a
Well, I was thinking too, did he drink the other half?
Makes you wonder.
3rd Street Brewery now has went from bottling to cans, so it's a 12-pack now that farmers receive, and been a real good partner in supporting the program. So I do have a little video clip here. I hope this works. It's going to provide a little more information on the program and highlight Stearns County farmer Ken Sheffers and the partnership with Third Street Brewery, and also Mark Lefebvre, Stearns SWCD nutrient management specialist.
Is the Dakota word for sky-tinted waters. With more than 11,000 lakes and 69,000 miles of rivers and streams, clean water is vital to our health and enjoyment of the outdoors. So it's no surprise that Minnesota is the first state in the country to launch an agricultural water quality certification program. Government agencies, farmers, and businesses are partnering to protect our valuable water resources. In 2012, the state of Minnesota signed an agreement with the EPA and USDA to adopt an ag certification program managed by the Minnesota Department of Agriculture in partnership with other state agencies.
It's really a source of pride that they came to Minnesota and said, let's first try here a process where we certify farms for their water quality practice protections and improvements. And it really demonstrated as a national model that could potentially be now exported to other states.
Certification confirms that a producer is managing nutrients, tillage, and fuel to protect water quality. The Ag Department works with local soil and water conservation districts to do the hands-on work of guiding farmers through the process.
This whole farm assessment looks at the risk to water quality for every farm's practices and how they till the soil, how they apply nutrients, fertilizer or manure, what their pest management practices are, and what additional conservation practices on top of that.
Mark Lefebvre worked with producer Kenneth Sheffers and his family to make changes that would earn a water quality certification.
The primary motivation we have here is simply that we feel it's the right thing to do. That the water that leaves your farm should be clean, and that has been a concern of mine since I was in high school in the 60s. We didn't understand things as fully then. We just kind of thought soil erosion, and as time has passed, we have learned that the nutrients in there that you can't see are also pollutants. So we've always had that passion.
The Sheffers family partnership, including Kenneth and his wife Julie, son Jason, and brother Ralph, have been gradually improving their farm's environmental health for the past 13 years. Of the farm's 500 acres, 420 are cropped, and the rest is wetlands, grass buffers, and Conservation Reserve Program acres. Kenneth says conservation practices are a win-win because using nutrients and pesticides only where they are needed saves money.
If we don't over-fertilize and if we spread it properly on our various fields, you get the growth that you need without all the fertilization. So we have a reduced fertilizer cost.
Still, the Sheffers wanted to go one step further and gain water quality certification.
After we reviewed the water quality program and did different scorings, we kind of realized some of the things that needed to be changed. We had been doing pretty good on our nitrogen rates and not over-applying there, but as a result of using quite a bit of manure for fertilizer, we were over-applying phosphorus on some fields. So we worked at that. We had a few waterways that needed to be improved a little bit, some seedings. We had some buffers that we improved on.
The Sheffers drain tile system is important to their farm, but they made it water quality friendly by installing clean water inlets surrounded by grass. The inlets slow water flow and catch debris, preventing pollutants from entering the drain tile. The Sheffers also wanted a system for storing manure year-round because piling it up on soil can contaminate groundwater. So they built a structure where it can be safely stacked, and any manure that leaches is filtered through a rock basin and vegetative buffer area.
There's a lot of scrutiny on agriculture right now for what they're doing for water quality, whether it's sediment or nutrients in the water. And this is a way for farmers to sort of give them a grade and say they're doing everything currently available from science to mitigate any negative effects that their farming practices might have. They're on the farm drinking that water, maybe even recreating in the lakes in the area, so they don't want nutrients or soil leaving their farm.
After a farm operation is certified, it will be deemed in compliance with any new water rules that come into play over the next 10 years.
In Stearns County, we have about 55 or so certified, and I've done over 150 assessments, so those other 100 or so are still waiting to maybe make a decision and adopt some things. We can give them suggestions to improve. If they don't like those suggestions, they don't have to do them. There's no requirement. Maybe next year they'll rethink it and maybe come back and say, you know, I thought about that. Maybe I'm going to do that.
Since the program started in 2014, 535 producers with more than 330,000 acres of agricultural production have been certified. More than 1,000 new conservation practices are making tons of difference. Businesses are jumping on board to promote water quality. Breweries are especially dependent on clean water to make a good beer. As a thank you to farmers who are water quality certified, 3rd Street Brew House, a division of Cold Spring Brewing, offers them a 12-pack of craft beer.
Environmental concerns are pretty big for us. We partnering with the farmer program has been awesome, and I think it's a great program for environmental protection. All the water that they use could eventually end up in the same wells that we use here, and having good water to start with is really important, and as well as the environmental concerns that it poses.
It just helps us build relationships with farmers. Being allowed to give them a 12-pack of beer if they get certified is just a neat thing to be able to do, and it makes it fun, and it helps me build a relationship with the farmer, because they have to believe me if they're going to make a change.
We have other businesses that are engaged in this. We have agriculture business. Land O'Lakes Cooperative is a participant with us in their program. They're working to get the farmers that they work certified, because agriculture as an industry knows that water quality protection is something that we all seek. The farmers know it, the industry knows it, certainly the citizens of Minnesota know it. So this is where we've all come together under essentially one umbrella to work on that project together.
The motivation for producers like Kenneth Sheffers is to keep the land sustainable for future generations of farmers.
When my mother was in the nursing home at 98 years of age and had some memory loss, but one day I came in there and she asked me, she says, well, are you guys still farming? I says, yeah, we are. And she says, well, how does the land produce after all those years? I thought, that's a really good question, because, we don't think about that, because there are some societies that didn't pay attention to that after farming the land so long, that all of a sudden the productivity has gone down. And so I told her, I said, well, we think we're doing things really right, and we try to do it better all the time so that it's not only staying the same, but getting better.
If I could just say, somebody like Ken Sheffers has a real passion for what he does, not only for the environment, but to run a dairy operation and the land base that he does, and his speaking ability and his, like I said, his passion for everything is just astronomical. And there's a lot of producers out there though that are like Ken. He isn't the only one out there, and sure, are there difficulties out there? Definitely, but there's a lot of them with a huge passion and a huge heart too, like Ken's is. So.
All right, just want to touch briefly on the Discovery Farm. We do have one of these located on the Nick and Tara Meyer Farm between Sauk Center and Greenwald, and this is an area where we actually collect all of the surface water through this flume pictured on this slide, and then also monitor any tile subsurface drainage. And what we're finding out is that surface water moves out of the site about 9 days per year compared to 210 days for tile flow. So the tile flows a lot. And 70% of the surface runoff and tile flow occur in April, May, June, and July. And most of the soil loss occurs when surface runoff occurs when you have these intense rainfall events in May and June before you have a crop established. And then also most of your nitrogen loss occurs with the tile flow. So these programs that we learn, like Ken Sheffer said, we continue to learn to do things differently, and this also is where cover crops is something that we're looking at to help solve some of these nitrogen losses and other nutrient movements off of the field. Just a few projects. We do a lot of these animal waste management systems. This is just one here that was in the Platte Spunk watershed, Crane Creek, and this is a stacking slab, concrete settling basin, and also had 2 vegetated treatment areas, and provides a variety of benefits there. And you can see we had a multitude of partners in order to accomplish this project. Here's a dam removal and stream bank stabilization near Whitney Park. This one was in conjunction with several partners, including the Watershed District, and it's in the Sauk River watershed. Another, as I just mentioned, the cover crops are becoming more and more important conservation practice to solve our resource concerns. We are working with more producers. This is just one producer here that used oat as a cover crop, and the partners here in the Sauk River watershed. We also have a special project on Browns Lake. We've got some significant gully damage occurring there, and the contributing watershed, if you take a look at the 1938 photo, you can see there's a lot of mixed land use there, even some timber, woodland areas. If you zoom now to 1965, you can see some of the woodland areas have been removed, and some of the wetlands have been drained and are now being farmed. And if you zoom to 2015, you can see that it's even more farmland. And if we take a look at the delta area on Browns Lake, you can see how that has grown over time. And to solve this problem is not to work on the gully itself, but with each individual landowner in helping them implement conservation practices that would improve soil health and water storage capability there. And the other thing is the climate's changing. Commissioner Mergen has pointed that out in the past, and we're seeing more rainfall than what we used to. Back in 41 to 70 at Collegeville, we had 26.5 inches, and now we're seeing about 30.5 inches, so about a 4-inch increase annually from that climate norm. And this water's got to go somewhere, and it wants to find that lake as soon as possible. We also had a couple staff retirements in 2017. Lori Person on the left with 42 years of service, and Linus Meyer with 40 years of service. 2 fantastic staff, a big loss to the SWCD, and we're working on filling those shoes. Supervisors, we got Tom Gregory, Dave Brinkman, Dave Weller on top. On the bottom, Arlen Lorenz, who's not here, and then Chuck Upoff, our chair. Our West Central Technical Service Area folks, Ross Riefenberger, Luke Herkenoff, and Gary Borash. Our Pheasants Forever Farm Bill biologist person, Kevin Roth. NRCS, I won't talk about, I won't name all these folks, but this is a federal portion of our team, funded through the Natural Resources Conservation Service with part of USDA. Stearns County Commissioners, we wouldn't be where we're at today without the support of the county commissioners and the SWCD staff. And once again, our mission is to provide local leadership in the conservation of soil, water, and related natural resources through programs and partnerships with individuals, businesses, organizations, and government. That concludes the presentation on our 2017 annual update.
I was wondering, changing the subject a little bit here, but still working on some County Ditch 28 issues up by Two Rivers. And one of the issues that had come up when we did a study a few years back was the amount of water that runs north from north of the St. Martin area. And one thing that had come up is that we should slow that down. I was wondering if any progress has been made on that as far as slowing that water down so that it doesn't get to Two Rivers Lake as quickly as it does.
Good question. We did receive a grant from Bowser to assist landowners with conservation practices that could help slow that water down. And we've done some cover crops, evapotranspiration, improve soil health, allow it to soak in. We have not had a lot of success in getting landowners interested to participate. And a lot of farmers like to farm, and to pull something out of production and put the wetland restoration in is not always an easy task to pull off. And we continue to work out there. This past winter, we sent out more letters out there encouraging folks to participate with us, to partner with us in doing some more conservation practices. But we could use a few more motivated landowners.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Commissioner Notch.
I have a question. Do you guys ever partner like with the watersheds when they find issues?
Yes, we partner with the watershed districts a lot.
Okay.
Yep.
I know I was at one of their meetings recently, and they talked about one of the ditches having a high E. coli, but obviously they have to get their sample group put together, and they were mentioning you can get a test to actually find out if it's a deer or a cow or a human E. coli source.
Yes. Yep.
But obviously the expense of doing those tests, and they'd have to test every sample.
Is that in the North Fork?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we know that problem, and we have been working with the problem and trying to solve that problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Persky?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I just want to applaud everybody for their work on this, working on protecting clean water and improving the quality of water. I can't say enough about it, just because, we sit in Minnesota here on the top of the watershed. We have nobody to blame but ourselves. And if we want to keep the water clean, we can keep the water clean or make it better. And, the farmers in mostly western Stearns County have done a good job of doing their best. I really applaud them. 98% compliance on the buffers. Some of them was reluctant, but nevertheless, most of them were doing it even before we started. And just one thing is that people in the communities don't know what they can do as well, because we got the buffers out there, but spreading that fertilizer and that pesticide that goes in the driveway or on the road isn't a good thing. So they can create their own buffers and back it off off the street and the sidewalks as well. So good job for everybody what they're doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Yep.
You too. Thank you. We are going to take a 5-minute break before we go to Public Works.
We're in recess yet, I guess. Oh, there we are.
Call the board meeting back to order. We have Public Works, Jody Tyke is here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My first item is related to SP 073-650-010. It's the County Road 50 resurfacing from about 0.6 of a mile north of County Road 2 in Cold Spring to County Road 159 east of Avon. We did open bids on March 22nd. This project has federal funding, so we need clearance from MnDOT's Office of Civil Rights related to disadvantaged business enterprise goals. Unfortunately, although the information was sent in 2 weeks ago, we have not gotten that clearance yet. However, if we wait until the next board meeting to award this, it would be past the 30 days beyond the bid opening date. So I am going to ask the board to award the contract to Central Specialties Incorporated of Alexandria, contingent on clearance from MnDOT's Office of Civil Rights. Central Specialties bid was $2,317,908.90. That's just over 20% under the engineer's estimate.
I'll move the recommendation.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
My next item is our bridge priority resolution. Every 1 to 2 years, we bring an updated resolution to the county board. You have a modified resolution in your blue folders that should have been placed there. It has 2 bridges added to it that were not on the original resolution that was submitted. Those bridges are metal span culverts that are large enough to be considered bridge structures. In the event you're interested, one is on County Road 9 north of Avon, and the other one is on County Road 23. So I'm asking the board to adopt this bridge priority resolution. We are not required to do them unless the state legislature would come through with bridge bonding funds for all of them, but the bridges are not eligible for either state bridge bonding money or township bridge funding unless it is on a priority resolution.
Okay, what are the wishes? Commissioner Merrick.
I have a question. So when we look at this priority list, is it for just repair, or is it for reconstruction, or?
In the case with these, one of them is a rehab, the Crane Township Bridge. That would be a rehab. The rest of them would be total replacement.
So the one on 75, is that by Fleet Farm?
One of them is by Fleet Farm, the larger dollar amount. The other one is southeast of St. Cloud.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about, the $2 million one.
Yes.
So that would be a total replacement?
Yes.
Okay. I'll move the recommendation, or with this item in our packets.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Just a question on that issue, Jody. As far as our number of bridges we have that are deficient or failing, are we staying up with that? Are we keeping up with that? Because it comes to a point where you've got maintenance, and you're able with the maintenance to keep those structures at least passable. Are we behind that if we don't have intervention from the state or federal government on funding, that we're going to have bridges that we won't be able to cross?
Well, as you're aware, the board is probably aware, we are replacing a bridge with local funding this year because there was no bridge bonding funds available. So we're fortunate that we were able to be in that situation. We're keeping up. I do want to move forward with a particular structure on this list. For 2019, it's a metal span culvert. It's Bridge 92034, structurally deficient. It's showing some signs of deformities and some cracking along the bolt line, so we would like to get that one replaced as soon as possible as well. We're going to be moving forward on the design of that, so hopefully the legislature will put a significant amount of funding into bridge bonding funds so we don't have to use all of our local or state aid funding to replace that. But I do think it's important to move forward on them. Again, we're probably in a better situation than a lot of counties are because we have that local option sales tax that we can use towards transportation projects, and then, of course, our state aid money if we need to.
Okay.
I do have 3 miscellaneous items. One of them is to set a bid date for SAP 073-617-040. and that is resurfacing and drainage improvements along County Road 17 in the city of Holdingford. And I'm asking the board to set the bid date for May 10th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
My next item, you may recall, we had advertised to sell a strip of right-of-way at the request of the city of Painesville and Painesville Historical Society, and we didn't get any bids when we did that. I've been contacted. They're not sure where the miscommunication was. They've asked us to re-advertise. I would ask the board to set a bid date of May 11th, 2018 for the sale of this right-of-way along County Road 85 or Old Trunk Highway 23 in the city of Painesville, and the minimum bid would be set for $15,540.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
My last item is informational only. I know a couple of commissioners have been getting contacted about the condition of County Road 2 between County Road 4 or Fisher Hill and County Road 5 in St. Stephen. As you may recall, the contractor got a later start than we wanted them to. They were overextended on their contract time. We ended up paving late in the year. So in the rural area, we only have one lift of pavement down, and in some cases, that lift of pavement went over some soft or wet soils. All the patching that has been done on that has been done at the contractor's expense, and it's meant to Band-Aid it until we get to the construction season when bituminous plants open. At that point, we are going to be marking larger areas of bituminous to be completely removed and replaced. I'm not going to say it's going to be the entire stretch of pavement, and I know that some people would like to see that, but we're going to look at where we have failures and require the contractor to remove and replace that pavement at their own cost, after which we have 2 additional lifts of pavement going down. So the condition they see the pavement in now is not what the final condition is going to be, and I know there have been some concerns. We did update our website yesterday afternoon as well, so anybody who signed up for those updates would have gotten that notification as well. And I don't know if there are any other questions on that.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
I have a question,
Mr.
Mr.
Mayor.
Chair. And I don't need the information now, but the warning signal that went in on Minnesota Street in St. Joe where it intersects with County Road 2, there was a near major accident recently. And so I'd just like to know what history that we have since that has been installed, if it's working the way it's supposed to make sure that everything is.
I can bring that back at another board meeting.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else have anything for Jody? Thank you, Jody.
Thank
you. We have item F, Environmental Services. We have Shelley Benson here.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
I just have one item for you, and that is to authorize a public hearing for a large gathering license for breakfast on the farm. So we're looking at May 8th for the public hearing. And because that is, it's an annual event, but because it rotates location, that's why we require a public hearing every year for licensure.
I'll move the recommended action.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all I have, unless you have items for me.
Short day for you today, Shelley.
I know, I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to recess the county board meeting and conduct the Human Services Board meeting. Human Services Board at consent items.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Morning.
My name is Julie Ellis. I'm the Division Director of Community Supports. On today's agenda, Human Services has 2 consent items, item number G1 and G2. They start on page 94 and 96. Are there any questions?
Motion from the board.
I'll move the consent items.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. There is one Human Services Board item. It is item H1 on page 98. This is a request for the board to approve the application for a DHS grant on housing and supports. DHS is seeking proposals to develop community living infrastructure throughout the state. As you're aware, Stearns County Human Services staff have been working to find solutions to allow us to provide appropriate care to individuals in our community. When we're able to do so, the need for much higher levels of care, such as detox stays, emergency room visits, and jail stays, can be avoided or at least decreased. Commitment hospital costs can also be avoided when people receive the right level of care at the right time. We have worked with our community partners, including local law enforcement, the Mental Health Center, and CentraCare, to identify the highest needs, and have found that nearly 100% of the individuals who utilize the highest level of care in our community are homeless. When housing needs are not addressed appropriately, other resources are utilized to fill this need, which are very expensive and not necessarily helpful. I'm excited to share with you how we believe this grant opportunity will help fill this need. The grant funding is available to fund 3 areas. Outreach efforts. This would be an individual working in the field offering services to people who are currently homeless or at imminent risk of being homeless. The second area is a housing resource specialist. This staff person would assist individuals in the application process for housing and housing assistance. This process is very cumbersome and difficult to determine next steps. Many people who are trying to maneuver it on their own give up and are not able to successfully locate housing, or if they do, cannot meet the documentation requirements for financial assistance. And the third area is funding to administer the housing support program. You would know this as the former GRH program. Our proposal doesn't include this component for the first year application. The term of any resulting contract is anticipated to be for 12 months and would commence this June and allows the option of reapplying for an additional 2 years. Our RFP submission would include a request for $400,000 for Stearns County housing and supports. The total amount of funding available for the program is $1.4 million for fiscal year 2018 and $1.4 million for fiscal year 2019. The amount increases to $1.5 million annually beginning 2020 and ongoing. The funding would cover 3 positions as well as administrative costs. The 3 positions would allow us to provide outreach services, design and implement software that would assist tracking available housing and requirements, as well as data tracking and coordination. Much of the work would be done in the community and therefore would not require structural or building changes. We believe we found an excellent opportunity to fill a need that our community has. I'm here today to ask for your support of our grant application. Thank you for your attention, and I would be happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Mr. Merrick.
Yes, I'm wondering, Julie, if you can tell us, my understanding is that there's no need for a structure in this, as a part of this program, or is there? And who would take care of that cost?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Merrick, there is no need for a structure. The outreach worker would actually be working in the city of St. Cloud, working with people who are currently experiencing homelessness. The specialist, the housing specialist, would be housed in this building and would actually help people apply for housing, but there's no additional structural need.
Okay. And then according to the grant section of our agenda, there would be a need for increased staffing, three individuals when the grant ends. Who would fund that?
At this point, we're not anticipating the grant would end. That's one of the things that's very attractive about this grant opportunity. The way the RFP is worded, it's an ongoing opportunity. We would have to reapply after the first year, and if approved, we would have a 2-year contract, and then we would apply every year thereafter, much like the PATH grant that we receive right now, and we've been doing that for quite some time. That grant has taken a shift and has asked us to focus more on case management with the homeless, so we really have not had an FTE to work in the outreach area. And that's why, we make some progress, but then we revert back again and we have more homeless people that we haven't been able to serve. So it's very similar to the PATH grant, and we reapply for that also.
Well, I'm certainly supportive, but we need to be aware that there's a possible cost to the county if the grant money doesn't continue. Can we, in the interim, develop something that shows what the cost savings would be, or that are? And what is this? Is it a 3-year program?
Yes.
So the cost with using this program, the dollars from the program, there'd be a cost savings to the county. Can we, when this comes back 3 years from now, can you have that information available somehow? Is that possible?
Yeah, Mr. Board Chair, Commissioner Merrick, we did build into our application. We haven't quite completed the application process yet, but one of the components in the third FT is a data analyst.
Okay.
So we intend from the very start to begin tracking data and to chart our progress. My hypothesis is that our civil commitment costs will go down significantly, as well as our detox costs. And we should see an impact to the jail as well. Many of these people are arrested several times throughout the month. We know who they are. We know what their situation is. We just need someone to work with them and get them into housing. We've already started just a little bit because we felt like we had to. And we have gotten a couple of people into supported housing. Most people can't just get into an apartment and they're okay, but they need some specialized housing, and this would really give us the opportunity to do that. And certainly we'll come back and show you what we've been able to do, probably after the first year, because we'll have to apply after the first year for an additional 2 years.
Well, I would move approval unless there's other questions.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this point, we're going to close the Human Services Board and reconvene the regular county board meeting, and we're up to administration, item I. Mike Williams, you are on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have before you really what I would call a culmination of some work that you started with the counties of Benton, Sherburne, and Wright in 2016. Now, you started the process of creating an economic development authority, and you last year you approved the comprehensive economic development strategy, which you helped fund that process. And really all that was leading up to creating this joint powers agreement between us and those 3 counties to create the Central Minnesota Economic Development District. And really what that does in the end is it creates an entity that can then allow local governments in the 4-county district to qualify for federal EDA grants. That's really the crux of why you started all this and why we're coming down to this point. So you have two actions being requested of you today. One is to approve that joint powers agreement with Benton, Sherburne, and Wright counties, and then you're being asked to make appointments to that new joint powers board. The joint powers board is a 9-member body, of which the joint powers agreement states that you would have at least 5 of those be elected officials. So not every county needs to appoint 2 commissioners, but some counties are going to have to appoint 2 commissioners, and then there's a private sector representative that Benton County is going to make that appointment for the coming year.
Commissioner Merrick.
I'm going to move the recommended action and ask Commissioners Lenzmeyer and Persky if they're interested in serving on that board.
I'll go forward. I'll do it.
Commissioner Lenzmeyer.
Are you available to serve on that board?
No, there's nothing going on in my life, so
Okay,
I mean, go right ahead.
That's what I thought. So my motion is to approve the joint powers agreement and appoint Commissioners Lenzmeyer and Persky to the joint powers board.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Commissioner Notch.
So reading through this, there's some powers and duties of this board. Right, I'm assuming there's a blueprint out there because it says something about adopting rules, policies, bylaws. Is there a firm hired that kind of is creating this pathway?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Notch, the Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services is the organization that helped us through the SEDS process. So they actually used the EDA grant and the money that came from the 4 counties to assist the 4 counties in creating the comprehensive economic development strategy. And it is contemplated that this new board will turn, one of the first actions they will do is they will contract with Central Minnesota Jobs and Training to be the administrative body for the Joint Powers Agreement. And they will in turn make application for the $50,000 annually that will come from the EDA, and that will fund it. We don't anticipate the 4 counties needing to put in any funding. So that will be the administrative staff that will help with all the, the establishing the board and updating that annual SEDS. The board really will be able to do that in a couple of ways. They might do it themselves, annually kind of consider and make those updates. That's probably the most important thing that board's going to do. Or they could turn around and appoint some kind of a subcommittee or other working group to bring back a recommendation to themselves. So anyway, they will have the CMJTS ready and willing to come to a contract with the Joint Powers Board.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other
Commissioner Merrick, are both items under your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're up to item J, issues by commissioners. We'll start on the left here with Commissioner Lenzmeyer.
Nothing.
Commissioner Notch.
I don't have anything at this time.
Commissioner Merrick.
I don't have anything unless we can do something about the 1.5 foot snow that's in the forecast.
Mr. Person.
I too would like to control the weather, but I think it's beyond our power. I have nothing other than we got the state legislature and the federal government, looking for transportation funding. We certainly would like to see some help. So, looking forward to see what comes down.
Thank you. I have one item, and I think this is something we need to look at. Running across another situation where landowner is given incorrect information, and this one ended up recording a deed, and now something's come up where he thought he had this all taken care of years ago, and now he's asked to go through the same process again. I think we need to look at a method for developing a method for reviewing items such as transfers between departments, so this doesn't happen. This has happened quite a few times again, and now it's called a recording error, and this landowner thought he had this done several years ago, so hoping to get it so he doesn't have to spend any more money anyway and go through the same process a second time. So I don't know if that's something we can kind of look at, is getting reviews between departments, and I know there's a lot of transfers, so
I would think that's something that our administrator can follow up on. And
you can maybe give me the name so I can track it a little better. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else from anyone?
2 very quick things.
Okay.
One thing is I know 2 members of the board received a certified letter from, I think it's Gabrielson Law.
I've got one.
It concerns a claim against Metro Bus, which the county is not a party of, and I already spoke with Mr. Gabrielson, and so you need not worry about those. I talked with him yesterday afternoon and informed him that that the county would not be involved in that, and he certainly understood that and agreed. Last thing is just to remind you that the employee awards that you honored our employees with today, we changed them this year, and you may or may not have noticed, but they followed our new values. So each one of those tracked with the county's new values, so that we can try to emulate these values as much as possible. So that's just one change that came about because of your new mission and values.
Thank you.
And
Anyone
if you
else?
want a magnet for your refrigerator, I have them right here.
Any other? Just commissioners, there are some documents in the back that all commissioners have to sign, so we don't run out before that. And we will then adjourn, and we have a meeting with the township officials right after this one. This meeting is adjourned.
We got 2 things.